JB?
Jamie, that's me.
JB Flights from Inside Global. How you doing today?
JB, nice to meet you. I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah, I'm excited to be back in Atlanta. I'm from here, so it's always good to be back home.
Oh yeah, you're from Atlanta.
I am.
What do you like to do when you come here?
Oh my gosh. I mean, everything. I grew up going, I went to the University of Georgia, so I
Oh
love it.
wow.
You know, love the dogs.
Yeah,
So
go Bulldogs.
go Bulldogs.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Are you
love
from
it.
around the area?
No, I'm actually from Boston.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How long you been here?
Yeah, I moved to the South about 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh. How you
Yeah.
liking it?
I love it. Southern hospitality. What can you
It's a
complain
little
about?
warmer, right?
And a lot
A lot
warmer.
warmer.
Yeah, so I'm very thankful for that.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Did you come down for work with CyberLogics?
Yeah, they have me traveling a lot.
I hear that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they do.
tell me about how you got to the company and how you ended up getting to the chief talent officer.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've just been growing so much. I started, in the conception of CyberLogics and just worked my way up and found a lot of joy being here and been here ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jamie, that's so inspiring to hear. And as an account manager at Insight Global, I'm inspired every day to help my clients make more impact, save their time, and to do so with the best customer service on the market. And
Perfect.
today, I want to help show you how we can launch your company to the next level.
Nice. This is
Yeah,
fun.
right?
I like it.
Yeah, and these meetings are pretty basic. I already talked with Jordan last week, and
Mhm.
he kind of gave me a rundown on what you guys are looking to do with your 2025 hiring plan.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to ask some questions to figure out, if everything's still correct from there, see where you guys are at now compared to ultimately where you want to be,
Okay.
and figuring out what your hiring needs are. And if it makes sense, we can talk about some potential steps down the line. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No,
And
works
does
for me.
10 minutes still work for you?
Well, now we have like 9.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
well, let's get to
let's
it.
get into it.
Yeah. Now, Jordan told me last time that we talked that
Mhm.
you guys were looking to have this whole initiative done by January 1. Is that still the case?
Yeah, ASAP.
Wow. Okay.
ASAP.
It's ambitious. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that you guys were working together on this and that you were going to be making the final call. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I am the highest up person, so
Okay.
that's me.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. And he told me that you guys were looking to hire around, I think it was 180 people
Mhm.
this coming year, and
Yep.
all different kind of roles, right?
All different types of roles. Yep.
And he told me the reason for the need for new employees was you got some exciting projects coming in
Mhm.
early next year. Is that still the case?
Yeah, like we've talked about before, and I'm sure they've shared with you. I mean, we're looking to grow 20%. So,
Yeah.
it's really, really important that we hire these resources as we expand and scale the business.
Absolutely. And Jordan told me about a couple of issues that you guys have been suffering from. He
Mhm.
told me that you guys have already had a great sales team. You guys
Yeah.
this past year grew 20% with new clients,
Mhm.
which is awesome, but it seems like you didn't meet your employee hiring goals. So
Mhm.
it seems like you're growing too fast for your own good at this point. Is that
Yeah.
kind of been the case?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the case, and we just want to make sure we're hiring the right talent, right? Like it needs to
Absolutely.
fit in my budget. I need to hire the right people. They need to be able to work out, and we need them fast. So,
Sure.
yeah.
He also told me that you guys are bringing in a good amount of employees, but they're leaving pretty
Mhm.
quickly,
Mhm.
and that costs you time and money to replace them every year.
Mhm.
He also told me that you have a lot of VPs and executives that are taking more on a recruiting and hiring role instead of what you actually hired them to do. Is that
Yeah.
all still the case?
That definitely is the case. And while we're on that topic, I just kind of want to understand what happens if we hire somebody, right, that we agree on, and then they don't end up working out. Like what does Insight Global have in place to help with
Yeah.
that?
So you want to make sure if you do go with us and
Yeah.
you get a bad egg, that you're still taken care of,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely. Well, here at Insight Global, we actually have a try before you buy feature
Okay.
where if you partner with us and I send you an employee and the first 3 days, this person is not going to work out, you can let me know and we'll have them switched out with somebody else in 24 to 48 hours. And that's going to be no skin off your back. It'll be totally free.
Okay.
So, most of the people we get in work out pretty well because we have a really intensive screening process.
Mhm.
But on the off chance something does happen, we got you covered.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And if all those issues that we talked about, continue,
Mhm.
what's that going to mean for CyberLogics as a whole and all of these exciting projects you guys have this coming year? I mean, how's that going to work out?
Yeah, I mean, well, if we don't hire, right, and we don't meet these needs, obviously that's going to stunt the growth, especially with what we're projecting. And obviously in supply chain, as you know, the holidays are coming up. We got a lot of moving parts, especially with so much being online. We need to make sure that we hire these resources, like I said, ASAP. And again, we want to make sure we're coming through for our customers and making sure that we hit these goals.
Absolutely. And on the
Mhm.
flip end, if you were able to fix this problem
Mhm.
and get your time back and make sure that you're hiring good employees that are going to be here for the long haul, I mean,
Mhm.
what's that going to mean for your position as an executive
Yeah.
and the company as a whole?
Well, obviously, as you know, I oversee all of talent, being
Right.
the CTO, right? So, I mean, that would be great for my team, to make sure that we hire great people, we keep them, they're happy, and then obviously, again, will benefit the revenue just overall. So it's really important that we get that done.
Absolutely. And what kind of role are you guys looking to fill? Is it permanent roles, contract, a little bit of both?
We're open to both, right? But I think, we've kind of focused a lot on permanent because, we want these people to stay long-term with us. We want this to be a career, not just a job for,
Okay.
for the resources we bring on.
And for this particular initiative, do you guys have a budget in place, what you're hoping to spend on it?
Yes, yep. So we're right now in a budget of about 20 million.
20 million.
Mhm.
Okay. Right. And Jamie, thank you so much for answering those questions. That was so helpful. And if I understand you correctly, you guys are really making sure that while you guys have an aggressive growth strategy, that you actually have the employees in place behind it to make sure you don't grow too fast for your own good and ultimately reduce your employee churn. So all the effort that's taken on the front end is actually worth it. You don't have to replace them year in and year out.
Yeah, and on that note too, what happens if I do like somebody, right? Like if we didn't hire them permanent and we hired them contract,
Mhm.
is that an extra charge to us? Like if we want to convert them, like what does that look like?
Yeah, so you just want to make sure that if you do bring in someone onto contract, want to keep them, you're not penalized for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, here at Inside Global, if you guys do a 6 month contract with us and you say this person's great, we want to keep them on full time, you can convert them at no extra charge.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great to know.
Yeah. And so did I get all those issues right and everything you guys are looking for?
Yeah, I think for right now, I think my overarching question, right, is again, I want to make sure this fits in our budget. So
Mhm.
how exactly does the payment work when it comes to using contract staffing as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with permanent staffing, we're going to charge a upfront cost on what that actual salary is. And then you'll pay that and then we'll hand you the employee and then they're yours for, the rest of the time. But if we do a contract situation, you're going to pay less upfront and it's going to be more of a situation where we're actually paying the employee. So you have less skin in the game. So if something doesn't work out, we can get them switched out without you guys having to spend any more money on top of that.
Okay.
And we can get more into hard numbers later on if that sounds good for you.
Yeah, I'd love to see them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it sounds like something that we can do for you guys is something that we've already done for your IT department. I already talked with Alex and Sam, and we actually got them 60 new IT hires recently. And so they're really happy with that, saving a lot of time for Alex. And so he can actually do the time or the job that he was hired to do. And I think we can do the same for you guys too. I have plenty of experience with helping clients out with those exact issues. And I'd love to show you on how we can do that for you today.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know that probably Jordan talked a little bit about Inside Global. What do you already know about the company so far?
Yeah, so I know obviously you guys are a staffing recruiting partner. Again, we're having multiple meetings with a lot of your competitors. So just like super high level, they just told me that we'll work together to find the best talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I told this to Jordan, when you guys are looking to grow as fast as you are, it's important that you partner with a company that has actually been to where you're going instead of rolling the dice on a company who has no idea how to get there.
Sure.
And here at Inside Global, we actually have plenty of experience with working with industry leaders, companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Cisco. So we know what it takes to take a company from where they're at now to ultimately where they want to be. And I think we can do the exact same thing for you. And here at Inside Global, I think we have the perfect solution for you. I think we're going to be able to reduce your hiring risk so that you can, have the flexibility to do what you need to do long term and also save the time that you guys have been wasting with, trying to replace people year in and year out. Well, how do you feel about this? Do you think this could be the answer for you, making sure the numbers are right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would help. I'd like to see some specific numbers though.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know that you guys have in the past usually done all permanent hires, right? So if that would be the case, that you guys are going to spend around $15 million. And then let me ask you, do you have a plan to onboard those people, those 180 people by January 1? What's that plan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would just go through my internal team.
Okay, gotcha. But that hasn't really been too successful in the past, have it?
No, it really hasn't. So I'd like to streamline that too.
So I'd like to propose another option. I think a 90% contract and a 10% permanent situation would be great for you guys. Is on a contract role, we're actually responsible for onboarding. So we'll do that for you. And then we can get them done quick and they'll be ready to go by January 1.
Okay.
And that total cost is going to be $7 million, which is going to be way under your $20 million budget.
Wow.
How does that sound for you? Would you like
Yeah.
to move forward?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think that that works for us. I guess for you, for permanent hiring, do you also cover the burden or
We
what does that
don't.
look like? Okay,
So you would actually be responsible for paying for the onboarding, which is why
Okay.
I recommend contract.
okay,
That way we can get it done quickly and efficiently, because I know you guys want to grow fast.
all right, cool.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you, guys. Okay. And we're just gonna rapid fire us.
Are we still live on out loud?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
I'm only gonna come in, just tell them they gotta go.
Okay.
They tell them we have to have 10 minutes warning.
So door knock is a 1 minute, they should know.
1 minute. Every time.
Okay, so just go in and sit down.
Everyone sit down, so the timer starts.
Okay.
All right, good luck.
Good. Hi, Jamie.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Lilyana, account manager from Insight Global. I've been working with Alex and Sam the past couple months to stock about 60 seats here at CyberLogic.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
Good. That's always great to hear.
Mhm.
Thanks for having me down here in Atlanta. It's beautiful over here.
Yeah, what nice weather in November.
Yes, definitely. Do you enjoy the Atlanta area?
I do. I love going to Braves games. I love the Southern hospitality. It's great.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm really happy I'm down here today.
Yeah.
I just want to go over a quick agenda
Sure.
before we go ahead and get into everything. The reason I'm here today is because I want to go over how we're going to staff these 180 seats you have
Mhm.
efficiently and effectively.
Mhm.
How's that sound?
Works for me.
Good. Okay. And did Sam, Alex, or Jordan debrief you at all about anything about Insight Global?
I mean, they've told me you guys have been a great partner, but that's all I really know.
We've been a great partner.
Yeah.
What did they like about us?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the people we've placed so far have been great. And they've seemed to work out, which has been nice for me as CTO.
Okay, all right, great. I'm happy to hear that. Just to give you a quick summary from my eyes, Insight Global is one of the world's largest staffing firms. Staffing and consulting is what we do best, just how you guys do IT and logistics best.
Okay.
I brought along this info sheet just to give you a pretty good summary of who we are, but the number I want to draw your attention to is 50,000.
Mhm.
How many people did you hire last year, Jamie?
We hired the 60.
The 60, just the 60?
Yep.
Okay, all right. We hired over 50,000 at Insight Global. We help staff over 50,000 people nationally and internationally.
Mhm.
Does this install some confidence in you that we could help staff that 180?
Yeah, totally. If you've had 50 before.
50,000.
50,000, yeah, 50K, 50K,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. All right, so just moving on, I wanted to give you a little bit of a recap
Okay.
of my partnership with Alex. We help staff about 60 seats, as you know, and it's been going phenomenal.
Mhm.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear from a really high level, sounds like it's going good.
Good. Yeah, we went through and hired about 37 contract workers, 23 permanent workers, mix of different departments, whether that be creative marketing, project managers, and so forth. And we help stay on track with that 20% clientele growth rate he talked to us about. Have
Mhm.
you seen an increase in clientele since the partnership with Insight Global?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, yeah, we're still wanting to grow and obviously get bigger as an organization. We are striving towards that 20%. So I do believe we'll meet that. But I know that you said a mixture of contract and permanent, just so I know, because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
What happens, when we hire somebody, right? And let's say one of these 60 like don't work out, because I know they just started.
Mhm.
Is that what happens at that point?
So one of these 60, so that's one of the
Mhm.
great things about contract hiring that I brought along here today that we're going to dive into is that when it comes to contract working, you bring someone on in a contract, of course, and if you, like you said, it's not working out, maybe not the best fit, don't like your team dynamic, we replace that person for you.
Okay. Okay.
Does that answer your question? for you?
Yeah, it does. And I'm sure they've shared too that like, as CTO, I really care about the culture. I really care
Yeah.
about, us having a long-term team here. So
Definitely.
what happens if I do want to keep them?
If you do want to keep them, so
after
they're a
contract?
contract worker?
Yeah, and then I want to convert them full-time. Is that extra to me or?
No, that's great news. I would love if you would rehire them. Our rehire
Yeah.
rate is actually about 70% of the
Okay.
contract workers we're staffing for our clients. 70% of them, our clients are rehiring because they're such big fans of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What does
All right.
that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, that means that like long-term, right, we're gonna have the right people and they're gonna stay with CyberLogics, which is obviously a big goal of ours.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear.
Yeah, great. Okay,
Yeah.
so just moving on back to the recap with Alex.
Yeah.
We saved about $1.2 million under budget. So
Mhm.
the budget was 6 million, we came in at about 4.8. How did that look for you as CTO with having $1.2 million back in your pocket?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always great for any business,
Yeah.
right? To have leftover money, which of course is just a big benefit for us.
Good, good.
Mhm.
I'm happy to hear that. Okay, so I wanted to move in now to the real reason that I'm here today is to discuss how I said, how we're going to efficiently and effectively staff these 180 seats. And you already touched on it. I wanted to bring up to you today the idea of contract hiring.
Okay.
So right here is your 2025 hiring plan with simply permanent employees. If I'm right, you guys have only hired permanently in the past, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This is the number you will be looking at for these 180 seats based on their salaries and the service fees added together. It comes in about 15 million.
Okay.
Does that number make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. This is where contract hiring comes into play. I think it's going to be substantially beneficial for you based on past clients I work with and the long-term benefits and cost savings they see from it.
Mm-hmm.
So if we switch about 90% of these workers over to contract hiring, you will see a savings of about $8 million. Instead of 15 million, we're coming in at 7.3. What could you do with this money back in your pocket, just like that 1.2 million we put back in your pocket before?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, again, this would really benefit the organization long-term with maybe hiring additional resources if we
Right.
continue to scale or whatever that might be. But I guess a question for you, I guess for permanent hiring, since you're still looking to do some permanent placements,
Yeah.
do you cover the burden like you do for contract, or do we handle that? Or what would that look like if you do contract and permanent?
So what exact burden are you referring to?
Yeah, so like that cost of like the benefits, right? And
Mhm.
like, that extra onboarding equipment, things like that.
Yeah, so for contract hiring, that's one of the great things that comes with it is that we do some of that burden work, but we
Mhm.
will take care of it some as well with the permanents.
Okay.
But more comes with contract hires, and that's why I think that's gonna be a great fit for you. I wanted to dive into that on our next slide,
Mhm.
specifically administrative burden that you brought up.
Perfect.
Because when it comes to contract hiring, we will take care of things such as payroll,
Mhm.
paid time off,
Mhm.
401ks, and so forth.
Okay.
They're essentially Insight Global employees, but you will be reaping the benefits of their talent.
Okay. And like, just to clarify, how does payment work when it comes to the contract staffing? Do we pay you? They're an employee? Like,
Mhm.
explain that one more time.
Okay, so just going back to this page, I actually brought along an equation sheet, a breakdown of how our services cost.
Yeah.
We do a markup based on the hourly wage contract or
Mhm.
salary you pay an employee full time. I'm gonna
Okay.
give this to you. I went ahead and totaled everything up on here as a breakdown. I
Nice.
did 2 example equations that actual real employees that we use with CyberLogics.
Okay.
You will be paying us that markup, and then we will be paying their salary.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. That makes perfect
So
sense.
that's what makes up the 7.3 million.
Perfect.
Does that answer your question for you?
Yes, that was really clarifying. I appreciate it.
Great, okay, and I can let you keep this. So you can put it
Yeah,
after
this will be good for
meeting.
me to have. Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Another thing that I want to go over with contract hiring is cost efficiency. So like I just said, you're saving $8 million. I want to put that back in your pocket so you can work on expansion, new projects.
Mhm.
So administrative burden, cost efficiency. Also access to high demand skills. We know as one of the world's largest staffing firms, you have specific projects that you don't need to hire full time, right?
Mhm.
Maybe creative marketing, social media, project managers or so forth, that we have people in that large internal proprietary candidate base of ours that are specialized in skills such as this. You bring them on, fulfill the project that you're working on. If you want to keep them, you can keep them, like I said,
Mhm.
or if not, finish up the project and then you can move on with your business.
Great to hear.
Do you think you see value in that and you could benefit from having something like that?
Yeah, I definitely think so, especially long term.
Okay, great. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is that contract hiring can act as a trial period.
Mhm.
You already brought this up, that if you like them, we have a 70% rehire rate, but let's just say you're thinking of bringing on 2 social media managers and only have 1. Let's do a contract hire of the second social media manager, see how they fit in that team dynamic,
Mhm.
see how they work within your company. If you like them, that's great. Then we can make them a full-time position. If not, a second social media manager isn't what you need, then it's just a contract position. It's not a long-term financial burden.
Okay.
Does this
Sounds
make
great
sense to you?
me. Yeah.
Okay, all right, and the last thing that I just wanted to say is don't take my word for it. Take some of the clients I worked with before. I put 2 client testimonials here that I worked with in the past.
Mhm.
Both of them came to me, overspending, time consuming, and we implemented contract hiring, and they're doing phenomenal today.
Amazing.
Yeah. Is there any questions I can answer for you, Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've placed people with you guys before,
Right.
and it seemed to work out, but I have used other vendors, outside of the 60s. And so for you, why should we work with you as an
Mhm.
exclusive hiring partner? Not just Insight Global, but Lilyana.
Yeah.
What sets you apart specifically?
That's a great question for me specifically.
Mhm.
At Insight Global, we have a culture of care. If you give me the opportunity to do business today with you, Jamie, I'm going to assure you I will do the best of the best to stock these 180 candidates with not just candidates, but the best candidates available in our proprietary database. My success is based off my client success. So I want to see you do well.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question for you?
I think it does.
Okay, all right. So what do you say we move forward with getting these 180 seat staff for 2025 and get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I think it sounds like a good game plan to me.
All right, it was really nice meeting you.
You too.
See ya.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good job, girl.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Do I stay for feedback or?
No, I think we're just ripping them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I go down?
This is all we can do.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm
Hi.
Hadley Mueller with Insight Global.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi,
Nice to meet
Jamie.
you.
So great to meet you. Mind if I take a seat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today.
Yeah.
I've been really excited after talking to Jordan and Sam and Alex.
Yeah.
Finally get to meet with you. Here's my business.
Thank
card.
you. I appreciate you.
Whatever you need, we got you.
Perfect.
Everything's on there, my personal contact information.
Well, I'll be sure to give you a call.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Always around for you. Also brought some blue light glasses with me. I don't know if you've ever tried them before. I'm personally a big fan. They really help
yeah.
when looking at the computer screen or the phone, which I'm sure we're all on a good
I
level,
look at
but
my computer far too much.
Don't
Yeah.
we all?
And my phone.
There's also a quote on there from our CEO about being the light, which he really lives by. I like to live by, and we like to share as much as we can. Just all about positivity, which I think is always
Yeah.
fun.
That's awesome. Love that.
Do you still have about 10 minutes today?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect. Well, I'll just share my game plan with you if that's all right. I'd like to start by just reviewing what I've talked about so far with Alex, Sam, and Jordan,
Mhm.
and then understanding a little bit more what you're looking for
Mhm.
in a partner, any challenges you're facing, anything like that. Then I'll share a little bit more about Insight Global, what we do, how I think we can help, and next steps. How does that sound?
Perfect.
Great. Do you mind if I take a couple notes while we meet today?
Sure.
Thank you so much. First, I am curious, are you the key decision maker when it comes to making a decision to move forward with the 2025 plan?
Yes. Yep.
Thanks for letting me know. When would you like to make this decision by?
ASAP.
ASAP. Time is money, right? You
Time
wanna-
is money.
you
Yeah.
wanna
And
get it
we
done.
definitely need to find all these resources. So very soon.
Absolutely. So to give you a recap about what I've done so far with Cyberlogic,
Mhm.
so Alex and Sam, obviously, we had worked together to fill those 60 positions, contract and permanent positions.
Mhm.
We were able to do it in a really timely fashion, which was great. Getting that expedited as soon as we possibly could. We were actually able to stay $1.2 million under budget. It was
Mhm.
also great, free that up. Now, what I just talked about with Jordan in regards to the 2025 plan is that you're really just looking for a supportive partner,
Mhm.
someone to be with you through everything, someone that will help integrate with your culture, integrate with your team, make sure your current team doesn't feel overworked,
Yeah.
and that we're able to be with you as you continue to grow. Does
Mhm.
this sound about like what they've relayed to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you specifically are looking for when it comes to a staffing partner?
Yeah, I think just someone that's reliable, right? I think Insight Global's done a really great job, like you mentioned, of finding that quality talent and really coming through for what our needs are. So yeah, I'm looking for just like a long-term partner that can continue to help us grow the business.
Available and long-term. Absolutely. I think that's
Mm.
super important. I am curious, were you satisfied with the 2024 hirings and how that looked last year, the overview? I know Jordan had shared some of that information.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think considering we came under budget, I mean, of course, that's always good to hear. And so, yeah, I'm wanting to continue to grow. So it's
Mhm.
worked out for us.
Okay. And in
Mhm.
terms of your internal team, what challenges do you think they faced in 2020?
I think, we took a lot of those challenges out, right, by using a partner like Insight Global. I think we definitely saved time, we saved money. They were helping us continue to expand and grow the business. And so I think we just want to continue to elevate that as we go into 2025.
Excellent. Do you foresee any barriers of achieving those goals in 2025?
Barriers?
Yeah, like any hurdles that you think you're gonna see, any challenges that you expect to face?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we don't hit these, right? I mean, obviously it's gonna stunt the growth. And as you know, we are on a big growth plan. We want to grow an additional
Mhm.
20% next year. And
Mhm.
with the holidays coming up, I mean, supply chain is a crazy industry right now. So for us, I mean, we want to just make sure we're hitting the ground running. We're hiring great
Mhm.
talent that can do the job effectively, that come in and budget and work hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't get these positions filled, and similar to how it ended up last year at the end of, when you had 20%, 27% unfilled positions,
Yeah.
if you were to continue that, how do you think that would affect your overall growth as a company?
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely put us behind, right? I do think we'd still grow given the industry we're in, but it would definitely, we wouldn't be growing as
Not
fast,
as much.
yeah.
So if you're not growing as much, I would expect you aren't be able to be as competitive as you possibly could.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so what it sounds like you're telling me is that you're just looking for a reliable, long-term partner that's going to help you grow.
Mhm.
If you were able to be a reliable, long-term partner for you that's going to help you grow, do you think that would affect how you're able to move into 2025 and continue to grow as a company?
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Is there anything else that you think is important moving forward that you're looking for in a partner that I should?
No,
Great. I'd love to share a little bit more about Insight Global.
Yeah.
What we do, ways we can help, everything like that.
perfect.
So Insight Global is one of the nation's largest staffing firms. We actually 30% of our replacements go into IT specifically. So we've
Mhm.
done a lot of work with companies just like you, which is great. As you know, I've worked with Sam and Alex. We've done contract and permanent with them.
Mhm.
Contract is a really, really great option for growing companies like you.
And while you're talking about contract,
Yep.
how exactly does the payment work when it comes to contract staffing versus permanent?
That is a great question. So with contract, you're looking at a bill rate per hour. So that's taken from the salary, you would say, but you would look at the consistent hours that that client candidate is working,
Okay.
and you're paying us per hour. With a permanent position, that's something that we could work out more so in a contractual agreement later.
Okay.
Specifically, what's going to work best for you, whether it be a few weeks, you want to do it in more lump sums or do it
Mhm.
more spread out.
Okay. And then what happens if like we hire somebody, right, for a contract and then they don't end up working out, right? Because I want to make sure I'm hiring long-term people. So like what happens at that point?
So you're worried, like if you have a candidate and
Yeah.
they don't continue to follow through?
Yeah, like let's say they can't do the job right and then the
Attrition.
contract role.
Okay, if they
Mhm.
don't do the job right.
Yeah.
So if in terms of doing a job right, we check in with you at least once a month to make sure that the candidates are all performing. So if you ever come to us and say candidate is not performing the way you
Mhm.
need, we can immediately go in and find more candidates. I'd like to show you a little bit
Yeah.
about how we have an expedited hiring process. It's 40 to 72-hour turnaround time. So we
Mhm.
can do this for you. We have a big database, over 5 million candidates already in it. We're able to go in and do that for you. It's also a little bit of a try before you buy with contract
Yeah.
hiring specifically. When these people are on this contract, they're not signing on to be with you forever. You can eventually learn into that contract to permanent if
Mhm.
need be, but it's not 100%. They have to be with you forever.
Yeah. And let's say that I do like them, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that an extra charge if we want to keep them after the contract?
It is not. So that's something that we would go and look at after 6 months.
Mhm.
So I'll show you a little bit more of a breakdown in terms of how this would work with contract and with not contract. So if you work with us for contract hiring versus permanent hiring,
Mhm.
you're saving $7 million, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of what goes into that cost is going to be the onboarding, the
Yeah.
soft cost that you don't think about, the time that it's taking to get these candidates, the leave, everything like that. You're kind of already at that point, have that candidate in your system. We can then just continue to have them after that and sign a new contract.
Okay. And so for permanent hiring, do you also cover the burden like you do for a contract?
We do,
Okay.
yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So we don't handle that. That's on Insight Global.
Yeah, so as
Okay.
long as it's through Insight Global,
Mhm.
we're the ones hiring all of these burden costs. So that's anything from the payroll,
Okay.
the leave, anything of the sort.
Okay. Perfect.
Does that clarify?
Yeah, that
concern?
answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, to share a little bit more about this budget, I do just want to point out why I think it's so important that you do 90% contract hiring.
Mhm.
You would save $7 million.
Mhm.
That number alone is huge. That was more than almost double the project I just did with Alex and Sam to
Yeah.
bring you those 60 candidates. You could do that again to do more research and development, to do whatever you need to expand and grow.
Mhm.
So do you see how doing contract hiring could really benefit you guys?
Yeah, it looks like that could be a good plan for us for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to share a little bit more about why Insight Global I think is a good fit is because we also have a lot of experience in IT, like I touched on earlier. I don't know how much Alex and Sam had specifically shared with you about how we've worked with the specific positions, but I know as you're moving, you have a lot of different positions you're looking to fill, and we have experience staffing all of those positions.
Okay, awesome. I mean, it definitely sounds like Insight Global's been a good match for us. I guess my question is, Hadley, it's like, why should we work with you? You know, I'm having a lot of other people knocking on my doors. I've used some of your competitors, and it's not even about Insight Global at this point. Why should I specifically work with you?
So you're wondering, myself personally, wants to work with me. Well, I promise you, I am 100% dedicated and committed to CyberLogix and their growth. There's nothing I love more than watching a company grow, and I have really enjoyed working with Alex and Sam. So I can promise you, I will be there 24/7 when you need me. You call me, like I said, you need me, I got you. I
Perfect.
got you. all
Girl,
the
I'll
time.
I'll take you up
Whatever
on that.
need
Don't
me,
you worry.
I do background checks. I do make sure I work specifically with recruiters and professional recruiters. And then I'm the person that will love to communicate with you and then continue working forward.
Okay.
Does that clarify that?
Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
I'd love to move forward to work together. I really think that we could make a lot of great things happen with Insight Global and CyberLogix. Like I said, I've really enjoyed my time working with you guys so far. And I really think I would be a great addition to your team, helping you grow and being able to, does that work for you?
Yeah.
I do have a partnership intent letter here. So I had done this with Sam and with everyone that I've
Oh, I
met with
see the
so far.
dates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we like to move as quickly as possible. So
Yeah.
here's a pen for that as well, and I'll be sure to send everything over as well. So this isn't a legally binding document. This is just an agreement moving forward so
Yeah.
that we can then finalize everything once we continue to move.
Okay, awesome. I don't know if I can sign this right now just
No
because
worries.
I have to send this to my legal team.
You got it.
However,
Would you like me to leave it with?
yeah,
you?
leave this with me.
Perfect.
And you
I'll
got
leave
my
that.
business, so.
I'll leave the contract. Perfect. I really
Yes.
appreciate your time today. I'm really excited to see how we.
Thank you,
move forward.
Hadley. Appreciate
Thank you so
ya.
much. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Good job, girl.
Thank you.
Great job.
Hi, Jamie. How's it going?
Hi, I'm
Great
good.
to
How are
meet
you?
I'm doing well. My name's John here from Insight Global.
Nice.
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet
Yeah,
with me today.
absolutely. Nice to meet you.
Oh, how was your commute to work today?
Oh, it was good. It was good. We're having some nice weather right now, so can't really complain about that.
No, can't complain about that at all. I ran into a little traffic myself, but I made it here. That's all that matters, right?
Nice. Yes, all that matters.
So before we get started, just wanted to make sure 10 minutes is okay for our time today.
Yeah, works for me.
Perfect. And to be respectful of that time, I came with an agenda. The first thing I want to do is recap the conversations I've had with Alex, Sam, and Gordon. Then I want to learn a little bit more about your role as the Chief Talent Officer here, explain what the value of Insight Global is and how we might be able to help you with your situation. If we see some alignment, take the next steps forward to make an agreement.
Perfect.
Would you like to add anything to that agenda? This meeting's just as much yours as it is mine.
No, sounds like a game plan to me.
Awesome. So before we get started, I just wanted to reintroduce myself. My name is John Mittner, and I've been with Insight Global for 8 years now as an account manager. Here at Insight Global, we prioritize our customer and client relations above all else. So that's my mobile number. If you called that, my phone in my pocket would ring right now. It's the same phone I used to call my kids back at home. Yeah. Feel free to give me a call any day of the week. And I'll be there anytime, any day of the week, and I'll try my best to answer those questions.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Sounds good. I look forward to it. All right. Before we get started, what understanding do you have of the conversation I had with Jordan last week?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I oversaw and at a high level what the work that you did last year with those 60 placements. And it sounds like what we've been doing with Insight Global has been good so far.
Yeah. So Jordan and I, when we spoke, we talked about how we could apply maybe some of the similar things that we did at the IT level to more of a company-wide project. Has he talked to you about that? Awesome, awesome. Well, I wanted to dive more into your role here and ask you some questions about your personal role.
Sure.
As a chief executive officer, what are the main priorities and concerns that you have throughout this process?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure we are partnering with somebody that's going to help us long term, right? I want it to be effective. I want it to fit within the budget that we have allocated. I want to make sure the resources are doing their job well.
Mhm.
And yeah, that it works,
Yeah.
right? That it's quick.
Yeah, hey, quickness is important, and you also mentioned budget's important. Do you
Mhm.
have a budget set aside for that and a timeline?
20 million.
20
ASAP.
million. Understood. I'll just make a note of that real quick if you don't
Mhm.
mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. And if it happened to go above that budget or you couldn't get this done on time, what would that look like on your side of things?
Yeah, well, if we went above budget, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be scaling,
Mhm.
right? Like at the growth that we are. I mean, we've been doing really well the past few years and next year, again, projected another 20% of growth. So if we don't get it done in time, obviously that's going to stunt our growth. And then if we go over, that will also stunt our growth. So growth is the number one thing and the most important thing for us right now.
I'm hearing you. And first off, congratulations. That growth you're experiencing is a great thing.
Mhm.
And why I'm here is just so you can harness that opportunity and make sure you utilize it to its fullest potential.
Absolutely.
What systems do you have in place right now to make sure that you're able to take advantage of that growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, I mean, it's our internal hiring team and then Insight Global when we've used you guys in the past. I have been checking out a few other vendors outside of Insight Global, but for the most part, that's what it's been.
Understood. I'd like to take this opportunity just to recap what I'm hearing from you to make sure I have a good understanding of what you're saying. Is that
Sure.
all right? So I'm hearing that you're really you're focused on getting this project done and being able to harness all the potential that CyberLogics is experiencing right now.
Mhm.
And the way to do that is by bringing on enough qualified candidates in a timely manner to be able to see things through. Does that sound
Yes.
about right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to explain to you just exactly how Insight Global might be able to help you with that. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So here at Insight Global, we're one of the largest staffing companies in the US with 3,000 active recruiters across the US and Canada. One of the things that separates us from a lot of other staffing companies, you said you're talking to others, is this 5-step process that everyone in our system is run through. And speaking of everyone in the system, we have around 5 million people in our system that have gone through this 5-step process that I'm about to explain to you.
Mhm.
So each candidate that you are going to be working with and are going to come through your door is going to have had a candidate phone interview, face-to-face interview. This ensures that they're going to be ready to like integrate into that workspace culture. They're going to be presentable, 2 professional reference checks. You mentioned that experience is something you value.
Mhm.
This ensures that account manager interview. I'm the account manager, so I'll be personally vetting all these people. I'm
Okay.
hearing what you're saying, and I'll make sure that that's being applied with the candidates that are coming through your door, and a 5-step background check.
I guess right there,
yeah.
what happens, and I know we've used Insight Global before, but just so I understand, what happens if we hire someone, you know, that you and I agree on,
Yep.
and then they don't end up working out? Like what happens at that point?
That's a great question. And so your concern is relating to if something didn't work out,
Sure.
what systems do we have in place to accommodate for that?
Yes.
Great question. And I've gotten that before. Here at Insight Global, we will offer you 16 to 20% of that said employee's salary, and we will pay you that upfront if things don't work out. I'm confident they will, but in the off chance that they don't, that's the system we have in place.
Yeah.
And I have a question for you. If we were able to see a similar level of success that we saw in the IT section of your business on a company-wide thing, and was able to do that for your company at a rate of $7 million, you said your budget was 20. This is what, almost a third of that. How
Yeah.
would that make you feel?
I mean, that would be great. We definitely could save as much money as possible. That's always great for the business.
Yeah, of course. And I have some metrics here I can show you. This kind of breaks down where all of your money will be allocated. I want to make sure our relationship's transparent, and you're just as understood as I am, the one presenting it. So if you have any questions related to this, please feel free to give me a call on that number.
Yeah. So I guess obviously I'm seeing a lot of contract here. What happens if, you know, I decide I really like somebody after the contract and I want to bring them on? Is that like an extra cost for me to bring them on permanently?
Yeah, that's a great question. So typically full-time hires cost more. Up top, I have an example of what it would cost if you brought all the people on full-time. It would be around 15 million, which is a lot closer to the top of your budget. I would highly recommend you doing a little bit of a hybrid plan like I have written out here. You will have those full-time hires, and it'll cost you a lot less. And in the meantime, while we're taking care of all these needs of yours, you can source full-time hires, and a lot of these part-time hires may turn into full-time hires.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know obviously a benefit of the contract is the burden, right? Like you guys covering all the extra costs. If,
Mhm.
you know, we hire someone permanent, like you see right here, do you handle that still, like those extra costs, that burden, or do we end up handling that?
Yeah, we would handle that burden on our side of things. That's not something we want you to worry about.
Mhm.
Does that answer your question regarding the burden of that?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. Well, I'm seeing a lot of alignment here, and I know we set a 10-minute limit to this conversation. I want to be respectful of that. But do you have any other questions that would keep you from signing a contract with us confidently?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, you know, in addition to the staffing, or to the contract staffing, because I know obviously you want to use a lot of the contract work.
Yep.
How does the payment work when it comes to contract staffing? If we moved a lot of these versus the permanent placements?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we will be paying all these people, and
Mhm.
obviously we're a business, so we are going to be making a cut. That's just realistic.
Sure.
That's how our company is able to do what we do. But we pay these people the set rate that we've agreed upon,
Mhm.
and then you'll pay us for our services.
Mhm.
Does that alleviate your concern regarding to pay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that really helps clear that up.
Awesome. And I also wanted to leave you with a letter of recommendation, similar to the third step in our screening process. I know like a history and proof that we can do the job
Mhm.
and have a good track record is important when it comes to business. So I have actually a reference letter from a company very similar to yours. They had us fully staff their company, many of which were IT candidates. It's actually Evergreen, a local retailer. And there's a number at the bottom. And I encourage you to reach out to him if you have any questions regarding our services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, all this is great. I guess my question for you, John, is like,
Mhm.
you know, obviously I know we've worked with Insight Global, we've seen success in the past.
Yep.
I just want to know, why should we make you our exclusive hiring partner? Not just Insight Global, but you as John. What
Mhm.
sets you apart? Why should I work with you specifically?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, money is a big part of how things work here. And on average here, Insight Global, we save clients about $5,000 per candidate. So with the IT situation that we worked with in the past, we saved you guys $300,000 there. If you were to work with us, you'd be saving even more money because it'd be a company-wide thing, and we'd just be applying those same exact skills and same exact methods that we used there to the entire company. Does that alleviate your concerns?
Yeah, but what about you?
What I offer? So what
Yeah.
I offer is the relationship that we're building right now, and I'll continue this relationship throughout us working together. That's something that, you know, some companies might promise, but I really pride myself on providing on a
Perfect.
consistent level.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. With that being said, is there any more questions you have before wanting to sign the contract? Awesome. Well, I have a pen right here and a contract written up, and I encourage you to do so.
All right, here we go. I'll have to share this with legal, so take this for what it is.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then last one, and then you guys can have your clap like that, 'cause you get to go home.
Like, sorry, man.
Hi, Jamie. So nice to finally meet you. I'm Rafael Prata, the account manager from Insight Global.
Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice-
Jamie.
Nice to meet you. Do you mind if I could take a seat?
Sure.
Thank you so much. Happy Friday. Any plans for the weekend?
Yeah, just going to a Braves game.
Braves game, awesome. Are you going with friends, family?
Yes, friends and family.
That sounds wonderful. I really hope you enjoy the game. Again, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. Are we still okay for a 10-minute conversation?
Works for me.
Wonderful. Here's a copy of my business card, just in case you have any questions or concerns with anything I presented to you today. But Jamie, I'm just curious to know, what do you know so far about our company, Insight Global?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we've partnered in the past. We hired our 60 last year, and we were really pleased with the service that we've done so far. So I'm pretty filled into what that is.
That's wonderful. And just to give you some more context, at Insight Global, we go above and beyond to fuel your success. So for over 20 years, our top staffing solutions have been catered to your company's culture, budget, and timeline every time. But for our conversation today, Jamie, I just want to get a better understanding of what your goals look like as Chief Talent Officer over at CyberLogics, maybe some challenges that you've been facing, and walk you through what a partnership over at Insight Global would look like. Is there anything that you might want to add?
Works for me.
Okay, sounds good. It's not uncommon when speaking with chief talent officers like yourself to loop in the insights of other executives within the company. Was there somebody that you wanted me to loop into what we discussed today?
Nope, it's just me.
Okay, no worries. If someone comes to mind, feel free to let me know. But just to give you a little bit of a recap, you did mention the work I did with Alex and Sam a few months ago. We were successfully able to bring on those 60 employees that they're looking for. Last week, I did speak with Jordan, and they mentioned your 2025 hiring plan of 180 positions within a $30 million budget and end of year timeline. Is that still correct?
Yes.
Okay. Could you walk me through what your goals as Chief Talent Officer look like at CyberLogics going into the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the next year, we're just wanting to continue to expand. We grew 20% last year, which was really exciting. We want to make sure that we continue and grow another 20% next year.
Wonderful. And congrats on
Thank you.
20% expansion. What has made you want to expand even more?
Well, it's supply chain, right? So like right now, I mean, as you know, we're ordering everything online. And especially with the holidays coming up, I mean, we're expected to see the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The most usage of our company ever this
And
year.
I completely understand Christmas is around the corner.
Yes, yes.
How do you plan on achieving this next 20% expansion that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, well, we need to hire. We obviously need to hire so we can continue to grow the business, obviously grow revenue, et cetera.
Of course, and you mentioned hiring. Within those 180 positions that Jordan mentioned last week, do you mind walking me through what those specific positions look like?
Yeah. So it's a mixture of data analysts, intelligent analysts, desktop support. I have some system admins, clerical and administrative positions, cybersecurity, customer service, website design, and social media and marketing. So it's a little bit of everything, all avenues of the business.
I love it. So definitely numerous roles across the board.
Yes.
And I know last week, Jordan did mention focusing on permanent, but he was willing to consider contract. Was that an option for you as well?
Yeah, we're definitely open to hearing more about it.
Yeah, I'd love to touch on it later on in our conversation today. But what were some specific skills and responsibilities that you want to see in these positions when they come through your door?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was some of the challenges we've had in the past, and I know Jordan has talked to you about this as well. It's just, we want to make sure we're hiring people quick, but also that they can do the job effectively. There's nothing worse than bringing someone on that interviews super well and then they just don't perform. So I think we need really, really effective hires. We need them to do their job well, and we need to hire them quickly so we can continue to expand.
Of course, and I completely understand the importance of having a quick hire and that expertise. At Insight Global, with selling staffing, we're selling a service that not only sells you skills, expertise, but also sells you time. Make sure that the candidates that you're looking for are within your timeline so you can continue finishing those projects and expand even larger.
Yeah.
But from your position as Chief Talent Officer, could you walk me through what your involvement looks like in the hiring process?
Yeah, so I'm really just kind of overseeing, like, super high level. I probably won't be interviewing anyone, just kind of signing off on all.
I
all
see. So
the-
you do more of the sign-offs, so maybe
Yeah.
Alex and Sam take care of that process to a deeper level.
Correct.
Okay, and from your perspective, what challenges have you seen in the past with the current hiring process that you have right now?
Yeah, again, it's just we have a really small internal team, right? In previous years, I know they shared the stat with you. We sought after to hire 110. A few years ago, we only hired 80, so we missed that 30. So it's just we have a small hiring team. We want to make sure we're hiring them quick and that they are qualified to do the job.
Of course, and again, I'm so sorry to hear that you weren't able to bring on those remaining 30 roles. So from what I understand, it's that small hiring team that you feel can't hire the amount that you're looking for the team.
Yeah,
Well,
they don't
how-
have the bandwidth.
don't have the bandwidth. I completely understand. And how do you think this would impact your role as Chief Talent Officer over at CyberLogics and the company as a whole if your team isn't large enough to handle these new positions that you're trying to bring on?
Yeah, so I think it definitely affects the growth, right? I mean, obviously we're still growing, and that's always a great thing, but the more growth, the better. So we definitely want to make sure we're getting as close to that 20%, if not exceeding it by next year.
And that's why we're here. We're here to
Yeah.
help you continue to grow. But just
Perfect.
to recap some of our conversation today, Jamie, you still want to bring on those 180 positions between a mix of permanent and contract roles by the end of the year within that $30 million budget.
Yes.
Wonderful. So if Insight Global could come in, provide you those 180 top qualified candidates within that $30 million budget and end of year timeline, would that still be something of interest to you?
Yeah, I guess my only question is, what happens if we hire someone, that you and I agree on, or my team agrees on, and then they don't end up working out?
Of course. So just so I understand correctly, Jamie, you want to know what happens when an employee drops out from the process?
Yeah.
Of course. So if an employee were to drop out of the process after agreeing that you would want to hire them on, we cover all of that cost. All the employee turnover, all those additional fees are on us, and we'll help you find another top qualified candidate to fill that role within that same desired timeline.
Okay.
Does that answer that concern? for you?
Yeah, that definitely does. And then what would happen? I know we mentioned that we've hired a contract, we've done permanent, we've done both with you guys,
Yeah.
but I guess so I understand too, what happens if we want to keep them after the contract? Let's say they're doing a great job. Is that an extra charge for us?
Or so just so I understand, Jamie, you want to know how the process works from transitioning to contract to permanent?
Yes.
I love that question. A lot of the clients we worked with in the past have found it beneficial to start their employees contract and eventually turn them to permanent, just to see if there's that culture fit and that's the right position that they're looking for.
Mhm.
You would actually be saving money when transitioning from contract to permanent as opposed to hiring them permanent from the beginning with the fees that are associated
Okay.
with that part of the hiring process. But does that
Yeah,
kind
that
of
answered my
alleviate some of those
question. Thank
concerns?
you.
Wonderful. Would you find it helpful if I actually could showcase the value that Insight Global could provide? Some of
Yeah.
the logics today. Great. So at Insight Global, we believe that together, anything is possible. We have over 3,000 full-time recruiters and place over 60,000 hires year by year across various Fortune 1000 companies. We've been in the industry for over 23 years, making us one of the largest staffing solutions agencies in North America. Here's an overview of our services. However, based off the conversations I've had with you and Jordan, I'd love to dive into our staffing services.
Mhm.
We specialize in contract to permanent, and permanent hires, which I'm sure today we can help you with on either end.
And for the contract,
Yeah.
how does that payment work when it comes to contract staffing? Like, do you pay them? Do we pay them? What? Walk me through that.
For sure. So just so I understand, you just want to know how the fees work for a contract employee?
Yes.
Of course. So we charge something called a bill rate. We take 0.1% of the individual salary of that contract employee
Mhm.
and multiply it by the amount of hours they work.
Okay.
So once that contract employee stops working, we stop charging.
Mhm.
Does that provide a little bit more clarification?
Yes.
Wonderful. So here's our hiring method. However, I really want to go into steps 3 and 4 that go into our 5-step screening process. This is how we separate the good candidates from the great candidates and provide them to you. I also want to highlight, as an account manager, I'll be screening through these candidates myself along with my team to ensure that they're an exact fit for what you're looking for. Now, I know I've spoken a lot. I want to take a step back and ask any questions and concerns with what I presented so far.
No, not at this.
Okay, here's an overview of the 2025 hiring budget that Jordan presented in our last meeting.
Mhm.
As of right now, if you were to continue sticking with permanent with Insight Global, you would be spending over $15 million. However, if you were to go with the contract route for some of these positions, you'd be spending a total of $7.3 million. Now, do you have any questions with the hiring budget that I've shown you today?
Yeah, I guess for me, for permanent hiring, do you also cover the burden like you do for contract? Because I see obviously you're presenting a contract,
Yes.
solution here.
So just so I understand correctly, Jamie, you want to know if Insight Global covers the burden for both permanent and contract?
Yes.
Well, yes, we cover any burden fees for any employees, regardless if it's contract or permanent. And as well for contract employees, we cover things like 401k contributions, benefits. We actually provide them the same benefits that employees like myself have over at Insight Global, and any other training or resources, both permanent and contract need.
Okay,
Wonderful. Are there any other questions or concerns?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Jamie, I really feel like we've had a productive conversation today, and I'd love to move forward if you're ready. How does that sound?
Yeah, I mean, transparently, obviously we've used Insight Global, we've seen great success in the past, but we have explored other agencies.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, why should we work with you exclusively as a hiring partner? Not just Insight Global, but you, Raphael.
I completely understand. Well, just to let you know, we've been rated best of staffing for over 5 years consecutively, and we hold a 4.5 industry average, beating the 2-star overall industry average for a staffing agency. We work with various agencies like Amazon, Meta, and T-Mobile to provide them the same positions that you're looking for today. Now, I know we're running close on time, but would you be willing to move forward with a partnership together today at Insight Global?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, wonderful. I actually have a contract ready for signing today, ready to go.
Okay, I'll have to share this with my legal team, so I will sign it, but I have to keep it. I can't give it back to you.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Wonderful. Could we set up another meeting next Tuesday too to speak with the legal team?
Yeah, that works for me. All
Sounds good. Thank you so much for your time.
right,
I look
thank
forward
you.
to
I
that.
appreciate it. Great job. That was awesome.
Lots of pressure there, lots of pressure.
No, you really did so good. Did great.